For history videos over the next few weeks, I'm going to include a series of sessions on the inside story of the remarkable achievements of the Trump administration. As you know, I worked closely with President Trump, although I was never on his staff or payroll or anything like that. But it gave me an inside ringside seat to the stuff he did. And he doesn't get credit for it. So I wanted to give you the details of a couple of things that he did so you can get the fabric of it and see how essential it was that he did this. So we'll talk today about how he solved the problem of the southern border to a point where there was very little, if any, illegal immigration into the U.S. while he was president. Of course, Biden pulled the plug, and now there's huge amounts of it. But Trump had it solved, and we'll discuss how in a minute.
Today's lunch alert is sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. The Federal Reserve is backed into a corner. Inflation is continuing at about 3%, and at the same time, commercial real estate and regional banks are crashing.
Trump understood that the solution lay with Mexico, not Guatemala or Honduras or El Salvador, because the concept that you could keep the people home because of economic aid he saw as facile and probably ridiculous. But he felt that they had to trudge through Mexico and that the issue was the Mexican side of the border. The reason the problem of illegal immigration was so daunting is that the ACLU and various other liberal groups flooded the zone with lawyers who, as soon as somebody crossed the border, they glommed onto them, recruited them as clients, and then filed asylum motions. There was no grounds for asylum, and economic poverty is not a grounds for asylum, but they knew that. But as long as there was litigation pending, their client could not be deported. And since he couldn't really be stored there because there weren't enough facilities, he usually ended up getting released to some part of the country on his own recognizance, and he never showed up again and was absorbed into the population. So to stop that, Trump had to get the Mexicans to keep them on their side of the border. So that raised the question of a revision of NAFTA, the free trade agreement, which Trump had promised to repeal. So Trump met in earnest with the Mexicans and the Canadians and came up with a solution for NAFTA that really helped all three countries. It included, by the way, a fantastic provision that's got no publicity, but God, it deserves credit, that said that nothing could be free trade among these three countries unless it was produced by workers in any of the three countries making at least $15 an hour. You can raise the minimum wage if you want, and the job gets eliminated. But this really bit and helped a lot of workers get raises. Anyway, Mexico really depended on the trade with the United States. And Trump said, if you will not cooperate with me on illegal immigration, I'm going to impose sanctions on Mexico. I'm going to impose trade sanctions, which would absolutely screw up the country horribly. And the new president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, I ran 2 campaigns against him in Mexico, was terrified of that prospect because it would send the economy straight to hell. So he agreed to do what Trump wanted. And Trump said, I want you to send Mexican troops to the border. And he did. He sent like 27,000. And he said, I want you to intercept the refugees as they try to cross, take them into custody, and keep them on the Mexican side of the border. The problem was that Trump needed to keep them in Mexico because the minute they crossed over to the border, the courts held that even though they were not legally here, were not citizens, and weren't even residents, they were entitled to American constitutional jurisprudence as long as they had their foot on the American side of the border. And Mexico agreed to keep them and kept them. And as a result, there was no issue with children or anything. And most asylum claims never got to be filed because they would never be able to do so. And they all went away. And now Biden has reopened the can of worms. I'm really doing a series of these, and I would urge you to forward them to friends and family so they can really understand the depths and the details of Trump's achievements.
Today's lunch alert is sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. The Federal Reserve is backed into a corner. Inflation is continuing at about 3%, and at the same time, commercial real estate and regional banks are crashing. So if Powell steps in to save the regional banks, he's going to hand inflation a tremendous victory. So what happens when the Fed cuts rates and inflation still wins? The answer is gold and silver go to the moon. So intercept them on their journey and call the Patriot Gold Group.
Now, the Patriot Gold Group offers no fee for life IRAs to viewers of these videos, and they've extended that offer and lowered the minimum required to get in. So call the Patriot Gold Group and ask about the no fee for life IRA. Stay well, and thank you.